Hi there guys, hope you're all having a good week. My name's Jordan, welcome back to Uninformed RPG. Now this video is a little bit delayed because it's been about 3 months now since we finished our Blades in the Dark Red Herrings campaign, who we're playing over on the Flickering Torch Twitch channel, which I GM'd. And this is going to be the start of a little 3-part series where we look a little bit at Blades in the Dark, the system, and we look back at the campaign that we played and see how things went. So today is going to be our first video, which is going to be the look back at the Red Herrings campaign. So without further ado, let's get into it. So in Blades in the Dark Red Herrings, the party played the Shadows crew type, which are the thieves and spies. All of their heists or scores, as they're called in the system, are run around stealing, sabotaging, gathering information on targets, and generally just being quintessential thieves and robbers out to make money. This is a very basic way to play the game. It's probably the easiest way. Other crew types are hawkers, who will go for vices. They are purveyors of vices. Or you've got smugglers, quite honestly smuggling. Or you've got bravos, who are like brawlers and thugs. Assassins, obviously quite obvious what they are. But Shadows was a nice easy starter party, I think, especially for everyone who's quite new to the system getting into it. So we had a lot of fun, actually. Let's get into some of the antics that they got into. So some of the highlights from the series for me from the party were they stole a diamond from a museum exhibition, they stole a gosh darn elephant from a zoo, God only knows how that was successful, and they even ventured outside of the city into the Deathlands, and they stole some arcane jewellery from a house absolutely surrounded by ghosts. All in all, out there to try and make some money. So that's the party as a whole. Let's now get into the actual individual player characters from the other cast members. So the first two people I want to shout are actually the two guest characters that we had on the show. That was Nathan and Naomi. They came in just for one episode each in the campaign, and they both took the Slide playbook. Slide is the subtle manipulator or spy, so they're the sort of good at disguise, very charming person, kind of get them into situations. Naomi joined them for the episode where they robbed the diamond, and she came in and presented them with the opportunity and then assisted them in trying to distract the patrons of the exhibition so they could get in and out, and actually rescuing one of the party who had decided to stay behind for some reason and get interrogated by the police. She managed to sneak in under disguise and get them out. So first of all, thank you, Naomi. Second person to mention, Nathan. He came in a little bit later in the campaign, and he was all about the sabotage of the ships that were about to destroy this refugee camp. So he came in, he played the Slide playbook, a bit of a master of disguise, jack of all trades coming in. He was a very, very funny character, actually. He had brought a lot to the game, both of them, Naomi and Nathan. They really did bring a lot to the game, and it was really fun to have them on. So yeah, definitely I would have them back again in the future if they wanted it. So let's talk about the main cast members now. So the first cast member I want to mention is Sean, the Outsider 68. He played the Whisper in the group, which is the arcane adept and channeler described in the book. This is somebody who is very much in tune with the ghost field around Duskfall, as there are quite a lot of ghosts present within the city. They can interact with that field, they can summon spirits to do their bidding, and they can expel foreign spirits to clear the way for the party. Sean actually brought a really good dynamic to that character. He played a sort of noble, and it was a really fun time to watch him. And he actually came up with a few really funny quirks for the campaign. Like at one point he tried to start a revolution with one of the factions, which, let's be honest, he was completely responsible for that revolution. He also set up a business of maritime law, which is a funny thing because the party's lair was situated on a boat. So for some reason, every action that they took, they reduced their heat by basically coming up with some weird law about it being under maritime law. You can't convict us on this crime. And that's how they used to go about reducing the heat for their scores. And Sean at one point actually decided he was going to set up a maritime law firm and run it. And oh my gosh, it was just, there was so much maritime law, guys. Like, I didn't expect it. It was really fun though. Sean unfortunately couldn't complete the whole campaign with us due to personal reasons, but he brought a lot, and the time that he was there with us, he really did bring so much to the group and so many memorable moments with him. So thank you very much, Sean, for your contribution. The next character I want to mention is James. James played the Leech, which is the saboteur and technician of the group. The quintessential alchemist, if you will. Sort of one who's always got those big artificer lenses on his head. Always got gadgets to hand. One of the things about the Leech is they have bandoliers where they have lotions and potions and poisons and little tinkery gadgets that they can pull off at any time and use for their nefarious deeds that they want to commit. So yes, very much had a lot of memorable moments with James. James played a character which was sort of an academic, and they were a bit of a expelled, like bit of a down on their luck, expelled from the university of the city because of an explosion that had happened. And it turned out actually later on in the campaign that they were actually undercover for the Imperial military, trying to figure out the whereabouts of some royalty that had gone missing in the city, and the military were trying to uncover from a war that had recently happened. And as it turned out, one of our other PCs was actually a member of said royal family. So, first of all, I want to say thank you very much, James, for what you brought to our Blades in the Dark campaign, and let's move on to our next PC. The next PC I want to talk about is our Scotland Prince, who was played by Adderson. He's Adderson Welker. He played the quintessential fighter, if you will, of Blades in the Dark. He took the Cutter playbook, which is all about being a very dangerous and intimidating fighter. You solve problems through violence and coercion. So genuinely some really funny moments with Adderson. He beat up a postman at one point to get an invitation for a party. He tried to pick a fight with some ghosts, which was hilarious. There was also a very interesting arc that went on with his sister, which Adderson and I worked out as we went on through the campaign, whereby she was basically the reason for the Scotland military losing the war against the Duskfall military, and she had basically snuck off and defected to the other side. And at one point in the campaign we had a really, really exciting moment whereby she came back. She was trying to interfere with some information that they were trying to gather, and the moments from that and the surprise on everyone's faces, I think, was really, really good. I think that moment paid off very well, despite the fact we had internet issues. And, well, what can you do, eh? We're trying to do everything online now. The amount of depth I think Adderson brought to his character really was amazing. I think it was his accent was very good, and it was just really, really good to see the amount of thought that he'd put into the character and the depth that he'd had. And yeah, it brought for some really amazing moments during that campaign. So once again, I want to say thank you, Adderson. And the final person I want to talk about is our host, Flickering Torch himself, Ben. He played a character called Aldrich Booker, who was a, shall we say, devious mastermind, in which he took the Spider playbook. And yeah, he was very much a way of, like, you go out, like the Spider is a slightly different playbook from the Slide, in the sense that they are a sort of social character, but in the sense of they are weaving a web of conspiracy. They've got a lot of contacts all around the place that they can call upon. Rather than being the sort of one-to-one charmer that the Slide is, the Spider is the one who knows everybody. He's always got somebody available that he can talk to. Ben, through the course of the campaign, created a drinking cult, shall we call it, called the Inebriati, which came into play a few times during the campaign, where members of them would help the party to infiltrate into social events or to be available to assist with exfiltration from the more high-action, high-octane events, shall we say, like, for example, stealing an elephant from a zoo. Who thought that would be a thing? Again, Ben played this character really, really well. I thought it was hilarious the biggest motivation he had, aside from the redemption of his country that Adderson had, or the trying to start a Lampack revolution that Sean had. Ben and Aldrich's main motivation through all of this was money. That's all he wanted to make. He just wanted to make some money. And there were just so many moments whereby it seemed like everyone else wasn't interested in making money, and that's all he really wanted to do. So again, it led to some really, really funny moments for the campaign. So Ben, thank you very much for your contribution. As I mentioned earlier, Blades in the Dark Red Herrings was the first campaign that I have actually ran as a GM, and I think it really shows on the faces of everyone how much they enjoyed it. They all really enjoyed the moments that I'd come up with. It was a bit tricky. It's a very unique system, so a little bit tricky and separated from your traditional tabletop RPG system, but they all really enjoyed it, I think. And as a thank you to me towards the end, they actually got commissioned this piece of art that I've got on screen now, which was a piece that was made by Victoria Blotta, which is a lineup of all of the player characters and me in the middle as the GM, which is, yeah, they put me in a butler's suit because I am catering to everybody's needs. And I just think that is so amazing that they did that. And it's really touched my heart because, again, I think that just shows how much they enjoyed the game that I put on for them and how much they enjoyed the world that I put in front of them. So as a final note, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who was involved in that campaign. It was a lot of fun for me, and I look forward to doing it again with you all in the future. With that being said, thank you very much for watching, guys. That was our little look back on the Red Herrings campaign. I'll have a couple more videos I want to do on Blades in the Dark, just a review of the system and also a look at some of my favourite mechanics in the game. But as I said, thank you all very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Laters.